ever just stumble upon something online, something so specific, it just grabs your attention?
Oh, absolutely. Happens all the time.
Well, that's pretty much our starting point today. One of you listening sent us down this, well, let's call it a fascinating rabbit hole.
Right. Into insects and maybe technology or art. It's based on a Japanese website, insectech.com.
Exactly. insectech.com.
And this feels like a real deep dive because, well, it's primarily in Japanese.
Which presents a bit of a challenge, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what you can piece together just from visuals, repeating text, structure.
Yeah, it's like solving a puzzle. We're trying to figure out what this site is all about, even without a fluent translation.
And there's quite a mix on there, isn't there? We're seeing what look like product listings, news updates, maybe even some artistic stuff.
For sure. So our mission today, yours and ours, is to sift through these clues, try and connect the dots on insectech.
Yeah, and hopefully extract some key insights, figure out their main focus, their offerings, aiming for those little aha moments for you along the way. Okay, let's jump in. What seems really prominent right off the bat is products. We keep seeing these characters.
Right. Those pop up again and again, often in what look like product titles.
It feels like a pretty strong clue that insect models or maybe figures are like a really central part of what they do.
That seems spot on. And you see those characters linked with different brand names or lines.
Like insectech stuffies? You can kind of guess what those are, right?
Yeah, sounds like plush toys.
Yeah.
Probably insects, sort of a playful angle maybe.
Definitely. Then there's Dig. What do you make of that?
DIG. Maybe something like an excavation kit. Dig for insect models or fossils. Could be.
Ooh, interesting. And Chentomology art. That one sounds a bit more serious, or at least artistic.
Yeah, Chentomology.
Yeah.
It sounds like a blend, maybe chemistry and entomology. Or just a creative name for insect-themed art. It's just they're looking at insects from multiple angles.
It does, doesn't it? Like bridging that gap between maybe scientific interest and just fun, playful stuff.
Exactly. Which probably means they're trying to reach a pretty wide audience. Hobbyists, collectors, maybe kids too with the stuffies.
And another line that seems pretty big is Entosphinx.
Yes, Entosphinx. We saw a few specific items under that name with some fairly high price tags.
Right, like the Entosphinx Heihu that was listed at $19,800.
Yeah, and that Cunabula one. Let me find it. Cunabula. That was even higher, $22,000.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking like potentially over $150, maybe close to $200 US, depending on the exchange rate.
Precisely. Which suggests, these aren't just simple toys. They're probably quite detailed, maybe targeted at serious collectors. High-end market stuff.
But then there are other things too, right? It wasn't all expensive?
No, not at all. There was variety. Like the Entosphinx's Canal was only $860. Much more accessible.
And that Entosphinx telescopic stick, $4,620. So it's still a bit pricier, but not in the same league as those big figures.
Exactly. So that range from under 1,000 yen to over 20,000, it really does suggest they're catering to different levels of interest, different budgets.
Okay, this is where I thought it got really interesting. We saw Essel D Aout next to quite a few items.
Yes, especially for several listings that included Hisi.
What does that tell you? I mean, for what might seem like a niche interest, things are selling out.
It screams dedicated following, doesn't it? High demand. Either they have a really strong collector base, or maybe they do limited production runs to create that scarcity.
And those characters again. Is this suggesting the insect model type and maybe a specific beetle or series?
Could be. Its sold-out status definitely points to it being a desirable item within their catalog.
We could also kind of guess at different types of products from the descriptions, even without full translation.
Right. There was one phrase, Hisi, that appeared with a Digbug product.
What might that imply?
Well, given the context, it strongly suggests something articulated. Movable joints, maybe? Posable figures you can interact with more.
Okay. That makes sense, especially if linked with Dig.
And like we mentioned, Chentomology art seems pretty clear. It's got to be about artistic interpretations. Sculptures, prints, illustrations, maybe.
It's pretty cool how much you can actually piece together, isn't it? Just by looking for patterns and context.
It really is. Like seeing Cunabula in that one product name. That's likely a specific insect species they've modeled.
And whatever Monier is, it must be a pretty significant type of insect for them, given how often it seems to appear.
Definitely. Okay, so moving on from the products themselves, the site also seems to have a news or updates section.
Yeah, there was a big banner or heading, GI.
Right. And GW, that almost certainly stands for Golden Week in Japan.
Ah, good point. That big holiday period, usual end of April, beginning of May.
Exactly. And the dates listed right under it were April 28th through May 7th. Fits perfectly.
So likely some kind of Golden Week event or promotion.
Seems very likely. And there were these brief descriptions next to the dates. Even though we can't translate them fully, some phrases kept repeating.
Like,
Yes. Yes, and also say seeing those pop up on multiple dates during Golden Week.
Suggest maybe recurring themes. Daily deals. Special product drops related to those insect models.
That would be my guess. Something happening throughout that holiday week to keep people engaged.
We also spotted some numbers in those updates. Let me see. 87, 470, 70s.
And 70 says.
Right. Any idea what those could be? A pure speculation, obviously.
It's tough. Could be related to the event. Maybe attendance figures if it was a physical event in the past, or maybe online engagement, like visitors or even sales figures.
6,470 and 2,050. They seem quite specific. Sales data or participation numbers feels plausible. It suggests, a decent level of activity.
Agreed. It points towards an active community around this.
There was also another date mentioned, April 13th. It said 2 years or second.
So maybe a second anniversary? Or some other 2-year milestone for insectech.
Very possible. It adds to that sense of history and ongoing activity.
And then there was that April 30th update.
Sari. That looks specific.
It does. It feels like maybe a collaboration. Or a special product tied to a specific place or theme. The theory part might refer to a location.
And spirit, maybe special price? Or a limited edition, an SP version?
Could be either. A special campaign price or a unique special item. It suggests they're doing targeted promotions, maybe partnering with others or focusing on specific regions or themes.
Okay, stepping back from events and products, what about the website itself? Any other interesting elements?
Well, there was definitely a mention of insectech TV.
Ah, okay. So video content.
Yep. Could be anything from product demos, maybe unboxing videos, or perhaps more educational content about the insects themselves. Adds another layer to the site.
And they had a tweets by insectech feed integrated.
Right. Standard practice these days, but it shows they're active on social media, engaging with their audience directly, sharing updates there too, building that community.
Definitely important for niche interests. What about the age of the site?
That was quite revealing, actually. The copyright notice at the bottom.
Let me guess, pretty old.
Copyright 1997, insectech.com.
1997. Wow. Okay, so this isn't some new fly-by-night operation.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's ancient in internet years. It shows a really long-term dedication to this whole insectech concept. Sustained passion.
Incredible. And right near the top of the page, there was that block of Japanese text.
Isher, yoi, juro, yoi, and so on.
Yeah, its prominent placement suggests it's probably important. Maybe a mission statement.
Could be. Describing their philosophy, perhaps, their goal to, share the wonder of these insect models or promote appreciation for insects.
That feels right. It sets the tone for the entire site, even if we can't read the exact words.
One last little detail, a PTA reference somewhere.
Ah, yeah. Likely just indicates they use stock photos from PTA, a common stock image provider. Pretty standard stuff for website visuals.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together. When you look at the products, the events, the website's age, the language, what's the big picture here?
Well, it really feels like insectech is much more than just an online store selling bug stuff.
Yeah, it goes deeper than that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There's this blend of, scientific-sounding names, chentomology, mixed with playful ones like stuffies, suggesting they embrace different ways of appreciating insects.
Exactly. It points to a real passion that seems to cover education, art, collecting, maybe just the simple joy of looking at these incredibly detailed creatures.
And the sheer variety of products, the different price points, the fact that things sell out, it all underscores this deep engagement they have.
And that their audience has, too. It's clearly a vibrant niche.
It really is an aha moment, isn't it? Seeing that level of detail and dedication, even just by decoding clues on a website in another language.
It truly highlights how these passionate communities can form online around interests that might seem very specific from the outside.
Which kind of brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, our listener, to ponder.
Yeah, what is it that drives these really specific passions? Why do people dedicate so much energy to creating these whole ecosystems, digital ones like insectech or physical collections around subjects that others might overlook?
Think about your own interests, maybe the niche ones. What fuels that enthusiasm? What brings those communities together? It's fascinating when you stop to think about it.
It really is, that drive behind dedication.
A great question to leave things on. And hey, if you've stumbled upon any surprisingly deep or niche interests yourself, we'd genuinely love to hear about them. Thanks for diving in with us today.